Live.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talk
Real talk, baby.
with Ryan Potter as your host.
I hope hope things are going well.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, we're a week out from the craziness and the last podcast and stuff we discussed.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, tough to get back into the swing of things, but we're doing it.
Yep.
But I think we got a good podcast for everybody today, and questions that I think a lot of people have been asking. And so let's have some real talk. Let's dive in here and let's get going, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we got to offer.
What is your title for today?
Oh, that's a good question. So, what is the difference this fall versus the previous falls in years past?
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's been asked and been going around, and obviously, like, it feels like these last 12 to 18 months and since COVID have been kind of weird, right?
Yep.
So I thought, well, why not like dig in a little bit, have a conversation about just the differences and what we've seen in the past, and then what we kind of foresee coming in the future. Not to toot my own horn, but if you've been listening to our podcast, I believe I did say that the next Fed meeting there would be a rate cut.
Yep, you did say that.
And
Did that
lo and
happen?
behold, what happened?
The rate's cut.
For the first time in months, we finally got a rate cut. And it wasn't big, but it was small enough to where it's like, okay, this confirms where I think we're headed and what I've been preaching to you guys and telling you guys all along.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, if you are a buyer in this market, you know, I think I said a couple weeks ago, you're 60 to 90 days out from your leverage being taken away and the leverage moving back towards the sellers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm going to say this very humbly, but I think I'm going to be right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get a bunch of texts and phone calls from people that are going to say, man, Ryan, I wish we would have listened to you.
I would have.
So let this be, again, a warning to you as a buyer. If you are in the boat or on the fence and deciding, should I wait or should I go, now is the time to go.
Would you say their 60 to 90 day window
Is now smaller.
Like, did it? Yeah. So is it not started from yesterday, the rate drop, or is it they're already in the 60 to 90?
I would say you're
window?
already in that 60 to 90 days. I mean, because
Okay.
90 days, what's today's date? The 18th of September.
So like,
So you're looking
3
at
months.
October, November, December. Maybe you're on the cusp of the 90 days.
okay. So like the new year is when.
Yeah, I think you get into January and that leverage is gone.
Yeah.
That, again, my opinion, based off of what I've seen and what is trending that direction. I think there's a lot of things that obviously like factor into that, but we've got into that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, again, if you're sitting there wondering if you should wait, now's the time. Now, here's something that's great, too, is a lot of people that were on the fence to want to buy were also like, well, if the market's not great to list, then that's another reason why we're waiting. And I'm like, well, now is the perfect time to list
Mm-hmm.
because now that the rates have dropped, more buyers are going to be getting back into the market.
Yep. So houses would not be sitting as long. Do you think? Can you predict that
Yes.
in the coming 60 to 90 day period?
I think we're seeing that, right? Like, I think we're seeing that shift and that change happen.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with, like, real estate. I shouldn't say problem, but a lot of people get caught up into, like, we've had this conversation before, right? So in relationship to rates, people are like, well, we're just going to wait until the rates drop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my next question is like, okay, that's great, but what's that number for you? Well, we don't know. Well, okay, you're going to wait for the rates to drop, but you're not sure what that number has to be before you, like, you should make up your mind. Like, okay, when the rates get to this number, and I would say, let's be realistic about this, people. Like, we're not going to say, well, rates get to 3%. They're not getting to 3% anytime soon. They might not even ever get back to 3%. So you need to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
I've been telling people, I'm like, when that rate hits 5, like, I would be going.
Yeah.
So 5.99, I'm moving. I'm not waiting for the 5.5%, 5%, any of that stuff, because you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. If, one, the rates do get that low, now you're going to be competing with a ton of other people. And all leverage whatsoever is gone by that point.
Yeah. So when you say leverage, like, what would you, what does that justify?
Okay, so good question. So leverage, let's just use the buyer right now because I feel like the buyer has leverage. So when I say that, a buyer has leverage in this market right now to negotiate price because houses are sitting longer, right? They can sometimes negotiate closing costs and get some of the seller to pay some of their closing costs. They can negotiate a closing date if they want to, right? Because sometimes they need to sell or they need to have an additional amount of time to maybe get some extra money put together, all that kind of stuff. They have the leverage there, right? Time is not of the essence in the sense that, like, we got to close in 20 to 30 days. We can close 45 to 60 days, right? You know, a perfect example is, like, I was having this conversation with my wife the other night, and she's like, I don't understand why if someone's bringing a cash offer and they can close in 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks, why aren't they doing that? Why are they asking for, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks? And I'm like, because they can. Like, but back in a crazy market, and when these rates get down, like, that cash buyer, to have that leverage is going to be lost in the sense that if you're a cash buyer, you better close in 3 weeks, right? Because that's what's going to make your offer stand out versus some of these other offers that might be a 45-day close.
Right.
And I will clarify, like, cash is not always king. I think people hear that sometimes and they're like, oh, cash is king, cash wins. No, it doesn't if it's not the best offer on the table.
Yeah.
So, like, my wife and I just got an offer on our house over the weekend, and we're already under contract. But we have it on the market for backup offers or for somebody that would want to come in and doesn't have a contingency to sell.
Okay.
And we got a cash offer. And so at first, you like, oh, cash is great because right now we're in a contract where it's a conventional loan contingent upon them selling their house. And so, like, you have these other factors in there, right? Like, well, they got to sell their house in order for them to purchase our house. And so, like, that could drag out a little bit. Whereas with the cash offer, it's like, okay, well, there's no appraisal that needs to be done. There's no lending that needs to be done and waiting on the financing side. And so, like, the cash offer is great because it allows you to close sooner, and it's cash. It's there right away. You don't have to worry about underwriting issues and all that other stuff that comes along with a loan.
Yeah.
The problem with that is some people think that, like, oh, it's a cash offer, and so, like, they should want to take that. Well, we didn't take it, because there was other factors involved where they wanted to come in lower than what we had a already agreed upon contract on, and they wanted to close the same time as this other one. And I'm like, you guys aren't doing anything to entice us to go with your offer.
Yeah.
So we basically told them to go pound sand. We countered them and they countered back, and they just didn't want to move. They wanted to try to have leverage there. In this situation, you don't have the leverage, right? Like,
right.
You want the house, then you better bring a strong offer because we're already under contract. And so I think sometimes buyers think that, like, oh, well, it's a cash offer, they'll accept that over anything. Isn't true, right? Like, you better make it still a strong offer.
Yeah, you need to have
coming to the table.
more leverage with that, especially with the closing date. I think that, like you said, is the more enticing thing with cash because you can close sooner.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about
Absolutely.
appraisal or lending, any of that. So how would you compare the difference between buyer leverage of 2024 to buyer leverage of 2025 fall.
Yeah, so I mean it's not that much different last year than this year. Because I think we've been in this, I would say, buyer's market where they have the leverage for at least the last like 18 months.
Okay.
Right. So houses have been sitting longer, and they've been able to negotiate a lot of those things. What I will say is what hasn't happened is home prices haven't dropped, right, in those 18 months. They might have sat longer on the market, but people were still buying. And I have those stats in front of me, So basically, what I'm saying is this, like in August, so I'm going to compare last year versus this year, right? Year to date.
Right.
So new listings, these are August numbers, at least here in Omaha. We're up 9%. So
compared to last year.
We're up, it looks like almost 100 houses.
Okay.
New listings, 9%, okay, compared to last year. Pending sales are up 8.8%, so about 9% there too. So what that tells me is like there's more stuff on the market, but yet stuff is still selling.
Yep.
Like people are still buying, right, regardless of the current market conditions. Closed sales were down 6.7%. So closed sales 642 last year at this time versus this year at this time 599. Okay, we're talking about 40 houses difference, right? So
would that be just like, because if the pending was more than last year, that's just like people have longer closing dates?
Yep.
Is that what it would? Okay.
Yep.
Periods?
So longer closing dates. So stuff is still selling, right?
Yep.
We just closed less in August. So my prediction would be that number is going to increase in September because people are going to close now in September, right?
Yep.
Days on market, 12 versus 15, up 25%. I mean, I would say that, yes, we've seen that. Like, days on market has been up versus last year. But I think it's going to be interesting to see this number year to date come October.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to start shifting a little bit. And the days on market aren't going to be as long. You've got our first-time home buyer price, like I like to call it, around 305, 310, 315, somewhere in there. Could be a little bit higher. I've seen stuff that's like the average home sale price in Omaha is like 332. Like, I think it's all just whoever's running those numbers. But either way, like, the crazy thing to me is, 10 years ago, a first-time home buyer house, like when we bought, was like a 3-bed, 2-bath celebrity home for like 160,000, unfinished basement.
Yeah.
Now that house is like 300,000, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it is actually crazy.
But again, I think goes to confirm that like home prices aren't coming down, people. Like, especially here in Omaha. They might in some other cities, but Omaha, we're not seeing that.
What would cause the home prices to go down?
I just think that like nobody's buying. But the problem is like we've had an inventory shortage in Omaha for years. And so people are always going to be buying. Like family events, like that's the thing that I tell people is like family events happen all the time still, right? Like divorce still happens.
Yep.
People have babies and they grow out of their houses, right? People send their kids off to college and they downgrade, right? So like these things still are happening regardless of what the market's doing.
Yeah.
Right? So like these things don't stop happening, right? Like people graduate college, they get a job, they're in their job for a couple of years and then they're like, hey, I probably want to buy a house. Like rent's getting way too expensive and I might as well start investing in a home, right?
Yeah.
Like building equity. So this doesn't stop just because people aren't buying houses, right? Like these things still are happening on a daily basis. And so what I tell people is like Omaha is such a unique city in the sense that there's people moving here from the coast on a daily basis. Like my wife shares story after story of like her working at the clinic and being like, you know, hey, this person came in from, they used to live in New York, or they used to live in California, or they used to live in Nevada, or they used to live, you know, you name it. And they're coming into the clinic to like see her, and they're like, oh, we just moved here, you know, like, and so like that tells me that like what is attracting these people to move from the coast or these other areas to come to Omaha, right? And I think like there's a lot of factors that it's a great place to raise a family. We got great schools. You know, even though it feels like the housing market and like the average sale price, especially for a first-time home buyer, seems high to us.
Yeah.
Compared to them,
to others,
where they're at, they're like,
much lower.
I can get this house for $400,000, and it would have been $750,000, $800,000, $900,000 where we were coming from, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I think people are starting to recognize and see that, hey, Omaha, like the weather isn't always the greatest, but like Omaha is a great place to move to, raise a family, and like to live comfortably, right?
Right.
So I just think that that's not going to change. Like we keep seeing the growth happening within our city. And so like as you see that, like, I mean, we've been joking about this for like 2 or 3 years, but you're like, I feel like everywhere I go, there's apartment complexes going up everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Well, why is that the case? Well, that's the case because we don't have enough housing basically to house all these people that are moving here or that are moving into an apartment. So like we still have a housing shortage or issue, right? It's just we went through these last 18 months of this phase of, you know, and even now it's like I look at I wish I had the number in front of me of inventory. Okay, I do. Inventory of homes for sale is 1,069 today, 2025, versus 813 last year, you know, at this time. And it's like, that's not a lot of houses on the market. Like, I've heard numerous people tell us that in order to get back to like a fair market, or where it's like a normal, comfortable, like healthy, like market where it's like both sides are like the buyer and seller are both like having leverage, would be like 6,000 houses on the market.
Wow.
Okay. And you're like, we're sitting at
we're
1,000. Like we're not even close to that number. New construction isn't building fast enough to like continue to provide newer homes. But what you are seeing is you're seeing a ton of development happening.
Yeah.
Like in Omaha, especially in Southwest Omaha. And
Is
so
it
that just tells
Southwest?
me that like that's what's that?
Are we Southwest right now or no?
No. So that's like Papillion-ish, like towards Lincoln. It's the only way to build.
Yeah, that
like
is true.
everything out west is pretty much like saturated and done, like because you get to like Waterloo Valley, Fremont, like there's not a whole lot of development that's happening out there anymore. Bennington was kind of the last bit of like Northwest Omaha.
Yeah.
So now you've got like Gretna. That's why Gretna's blowing up right now. You've got Papillion, which is right out there, and it's like everything's developing that way. And I think in the next like 5 to 10 years, like Southwest Omaha will be blowing up.
Yeah, I do too, honestly.
And you just like, you see it, right? Like you see that with the development and things happening.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a short time frame here of, oh, we're going to get to that number, and it like we're going to be sitting at a pretty low number for a while. And that's why I think you see all these apartments going up is because there's not enough housing for everybody. And so like people keep building these apartments and they keep getting filled right away. Yeah. You know, like I think the last time I checked and I talked to some investors, 99% of their apartment complexes were full.
Jeez.
So like, you know, you build a new apartment complex and you fill it up 99% of the time, you keep building them, right? And like more people are continuing to. So we see that, and it's like until that slows down, which I don't see anytime soon, you know, because they lock these people in then to like a year.
Yep, or 13
a year
month
lease or a 13-month lease, and they're like, well, I'm here for at least another year, you know. But like, guess what continues to happen? Your rent continues to go up.
Yep, it does.
And all my clients and people reaching out are like, dude, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah, at this point, you're paying very close to similar of a mortgage. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
And they add all the amenities. I mean, I live in an apartment, so I would know that. But it's insane. They just rack up the cost, and why would I not want to build equity in something? Yeah. Build a home, than have an apartment that's not mine, that's paying somebody else.
Yep. I don't know. So, like, I just think that, I mean, I just can't stop screaming this from the mountaintops right now. I feel like I had kind of a different accent going on right there, but
I didn't hear that.
I just feel like people need to understand that if you are even on the fence of buying, like, get off the fence and get out there and go, because after the first of the year, I'm warning you, I'm telling you, don't ever say that I didn't tell you. Like, this is me telling you again. Things are going to get crazy again, especially if they start going the way that we're projecting and seeing them go, with one, that being the rate cut that we just saw yesterday. We think there will be another one in December. And then come first of the year, you're probably going to see pretty close to around low sixes, high fives. 5.99, 5.89, somewhere in there.
So the rate cut, what was the rate cut, Ryan? What is the
It was half, I think it was half a percentage point. So, like,
okay, I
think we're sitting anywhere around like 6.25, 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
We were like up in the sevens like this summer.
Yeah, we were.
So, I've been telling people, like, they've been coming down, and you've seen it slowly starting to happen, and now we get the rate cut that we wanted and everybody wanted to see. I think it comes again in December, and then I think we see them again start falling come after the first of the year to kind of get that housing market rolling and ramping up again.
Yeah.
So then I answered your question about leverage for the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
What does leverage for the seller look like? Well, leverage for the seller is going to look like you're going to start seeing multiple offers again.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to start seeing some of the seller's closing costs get paid again, which is crazy to me. You're going to see appraisal gaps probably, escalation clauses. And so if you're someone that's thinking about listing your house, this is why I tell you, like, it's important to hire a real estate agent, because they're going to help walk you through a lot of those things as they come across. You know? So, like, I feel like I have to explain the escalation clause so many times, like in these types of markets, that we're going to predict here after the first of the year. And, like, there's even agents, like, that don't understand escalation clauses. And that's the frustrating thing sometimes, is when you get into these scenarios, like, I have to call the agent and I'm like explaining to them, like, hey, I just want you to know, like, do you understand escalation clauses? Do you understand how they work? Here's what our offer is, but we have an escalation clause. This is what this means. Like,
yep. And agents really don't know.
Oh, I lost deals.
That does not surprise me.
I lost deals where they signed off on the paperwork with this other offer, and I called them and I said, hey, I understand that, like, a seller's entitled to accepting, any offer that they want, right? But I was pretty confident that, like, we had put in the best offer, just because some of our stuff was like, my people really wanted the house, and so they're like, hey, we're willing to go this high, we're willing to waive this. Mm-hmm. So it's like, waive inspection, waive like home warranty. You're waiving everything. You're closing when the sellers want to close, and then you're also saying, like, hey, we'll match whatever that person's offering, and we'll pay an additional amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, there are just times where I know I'm like, no one's gonna beat us if we put this offer in, and it's like, okay, and then we go do it, and then it's like, how did we lose, and so, like, then I'm going to the agent and I'm like, hey, did you understand, like, our offer? And there were times where they didn't understand it, and I'm like, you need to call your broker right now. I'm going to call your broker right now, and we're going to have a conversation about you not understanding the contract and what was attached to it.
Not good.
Because everybody loses, right? Like, her seller loses because
that's not the
she
best
didn't
deal.
net them
the most
more money.
Yep.
And we lose because we really wanted the house, and it sold to somebody else that we made a better offer on. And in those situations, it's like there's nothing you can do because it's a legal binding contract both sides have signed or whatever. But it's also like, well, I hope this is a learning experience for you as the listing agent to understand, like, here's how an escalation clause works. So next time you're in that situation, you can better serve your clients and the sellers in this situation, like, and net them more money. And, you know, like, and I felt bad because in a couple times, you know, like the agent was crying and was just like, I just didn't know. And I'm like, well, if you didn't know, that's why you reach out to your broker. Like,
yeah, you have to ask.
You don't just throw this other contract out there and tell your sellers to sign it when that wasn't necessarily the best option for them, you know?
I feel like the escalation clause is like, you read it and it's pretty self-explanatory.
But what happens is, like, you get people that when you get into these types of markets, right, you have 3 or 4 escalation clauses that people have thrown in. And so then it's like, what you don't understand is like, okay, this escalation clause pushed this up to this number. Well, this escalation clause says that it'll match that number and it'll pay even more on that number. And then this escalation clause says, you know, so like, it does get confusing at times where when I'm in those scenarios, like, that's, everybody makes fun of me, but I'm like, I will literally print out the contracts and I will get sticky notes and I will literally like lay the contracts out on the table and I'll get sticky notes and I'll be like, okay, here's the max this one goes up to. Here's the max that this one goes up to because this escalation clause made their escalation clause go into effect, you know, like, and I'm writing all those out. And then like, but this escalation clause has like, they want the sellers to pay some closing costs. So like, that doesn't necessarily, you know, like net my sellers more money, you know, like, so I'm writing all those details out so that then at the end of the day, I can educate my clients and my sellers like, hey, I know this one might look like this is the best offer out there, but actually it's not because they're wanting you to pay, you know, this amount of money and they're wanting you to pay a difference if the appraisal doesn't come back in at value. If it comes in below, they want you to pay that. If it comes in, you know, so like you have to do a good job of like reading through the details of the contract and also understanding what each contract is saying. And if you don't, like, call the agent, have that conversation, or like call your broker and be like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding these things correctly before I'm presenting this to like my clients, right? But like, that was that's the frustrating thing. Like, when I tell you chaos is coming, like, if we get to that point, and when I say like you buyers are going to lose that leverage, like, you could lose a house because of the chaos that's going on and an uneducated agent, not because you weren't ready, but because you allowed the chaos to happen before you could have got in prior to the chaos happening. Yeah. Like, that's, I think, the blowhorn that I'm like blowing out to people is like, it's not just the fact that like now I believe now is the best time to buy and you have the leverage, but it's like when all that stuff happens, it just creates more chaos for everyone. Yeah. And I don't like being in the chaos. Like, again, I'm going to go back into it at some point, you know, but like the chaos just basically opens doors for more things to potentially happen.
Yeah, I bet. So do you think, seller strategy wise, are we going to see less price reductions and more bidding wars coming into 2026?
Yes.
Because we've been in heavy price reductions for, I'd say, 12 to 18 months. Like, when you say that?
I mean, I think, well, I'll say this again, why it's important to have an agent representing you to price your house accordingly. Yeah. And if you price your house accordingly, yes, you should be setting yourself up for that in the future. Like, I don't have a magic 8 ball that, you know, I can promise that that's what's going to happen. But from experience, I can tell you that, hey, if you're pricing it correctly, and you're in a great location and your house doesn't need a lot of updates, or you've made the updates to get your house list ready, I think you're going to put yourself in a good position to be in come the end of the year, first of the year, somewhere in that range. So like, I've been telling people, I'm like, I have more listings coming up this fall than I ever have before in years past. I think that's because of, you know, a lot of these things that we've been discussing and talking about.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are like, okay, we're going to take your advice and we're going to jump on this bandwagon and we're going to start going.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, could I get more for my house? Potentially, there's no promise in that, later on down the road, but I'd rather get what I want for my house right now and what I can live with.
Yeah.
And then go have the leverage to negotiate on my new house, and be in that, and then refi down the road if I need to. If the rates come back way lower than what they are now, then it's a win-win for me, right? I get my house, and then I can get a lower payment later on down the road. Like, I'm not married to this rate right now, right? Like, I can divorce that rate, and I can go remarry a new rate a year down the road, 2 years down the road. So, like, I just think that, like, you've heard us say, like, I think it's like marry the property, date the rate.
Yeah.
Like people have said that before. Like, yeah, marry the property that you love, that you're going to be in for a long period of time, that you're committed to. The rate is something that I'm just dating right now. Like, I have no intentions of marrying this rate because I know that it's probably going to come down, and we're going to break up and I'm going to get a new rate later.
Why do you think most people don't jump on that? Like, why do they? Because I feel like it's always, you could always refi. And people still, like, as we're sitting here today, people aren't jumping on that. Where it's like you could literally refi in 6 to 9 months, a year, and get a lower rate.
I personally think that it has a lot to do with affordability. Like, I don't think some people were able to do that from the standpoint of like, oh, like that's what my mortgage payment's going to be. I don't know if I can afford that. Right. So there's some people that want to jump on it, but they do the math and they have that presented to them and they're like, I don't want to be that uncomfortable for the next 6 to 10, 12 months. Right. Where there's others that like, hey, I have a savings set up. I have additional money that I can get to. Mom and dad are going to give me some money, like gift money is coming over here from grandma. Like, I think there's just different scenarios where like it allows someone to do it versus someone that can't, but I think affordability was big. I think another thing is like people were set on like a number in their head for a rate. And it's like, you guys have to understand something that like, the rate is what it is, right? Like, you can't change what the rate is right now. But like, if you've got an unrealistic number in your head, then you're never going to get a house. But what you need to understand too is, okay, if you wait, that $330,000 house might be $350,000, $360,000, $380,000 by the time you're quote unquote ready.
That's crazy.
To like jump, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think you have to weigh those options of like, okay, it might be tight for me at 330, but if I do it now, I can make it work and it can be tight for a while and then I can like refinance later on down the road versus like, well, the house that I really liked is now out of question. Like, I can't afford that whatsoever. Now I'm settling for something that I don't necessarily want, but it's what I can afford. You know?
See, that is like what is it, like what you lose and take in a situation? Like, if you're not acting now, the dream house could be gone. And like, then it's definitely out of reach. And that's where we have talked about buyers being picky. Yeah. It's like, if you're picky now, like imagine next year.
You won't find a house.
Yeah. It's going to be very hard and you're going to be competing a lot more.
Yeah. Cause that house is going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. Like, I think that house is more expensive, and I think people need to kind of decide, like, what it is that's holding us back. Like, okay, if we can't afford it, we need to be putting money away so that we can afford it right down the road. But also realize that, like, we're probably not going to get the house we want, and that's okay. Like, we can put the updates and the things that we need into it and build equity, and then when we go to sell that house 6, 7, 8 years down the road, like, we'll get more equity from this house that then we can go and afford the dream house that we do want, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge nowadays is everybody wants like everybody wants the dream house now, and it's like,
Yeah.
you guys, I had to buy 3 houses before I was in
Your
what I
dream
would call
house.
my dream house, like in Elkhorn that we just sold. Like,
Yeah.
it took a
you would
while
say
to
that
build
was
that
your dream
equity.
house?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Like,
Or
I
the
mean,
one you live in now?
we built it, so it was like
Yeah.
we got to build what we wanted, right?
Mhm.
And you know, thankfully we were able to do that, but that came with some of the decisions that we made. Like, we had bought some investment properties and we sold them off, and we took that money and rolled it over, and we like, you know, like sold our other houses and took what we made from those, and like we put it
Yeah.
in an account, and like that was what was able to allow us to buy the lot and start the build and do that.
Yeah.
So like, it was a process, right? Like, we knew we weren't in our dream home and our first home and our second home and our third home, like, but we knew what we were working towards,
Yeah.
you know? And now it's
Exactly.
funny because now I say, like, this house that we're in is my dream home, like, and it's
Mhm.
not a new home. It needs updates. But like,
It's dreamy. I like it.
the location, everything that I love about the house is there. Like,
Mhm.
the space is there. Like, does it need to be updated? Sure. Like, that can happen down the road, though. I got kids right now that destroy everything, so
Yeah.
like, there's no sense in doing something brand new because it just,
Mhm.
it'll all get ruined, and then I'll get stressed out, and
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life right now.
Yeah, and that's valid.
Yeah.
Very valid.
So, anyways, that's that. So I just think that, like, as we move forward, like, just to recap and then kind of come to an end here, but like, what can you expect as a buyer moving forward? As a
Mhm.
buyer moving forward, you can expect to lose the leverage come December, January. Like, that's just me being real with you, having some real talk. Like,
Yep.
if you can't do it between it stinks, but like, that's the reality. So then prepare yourself for what's going to take place after the first of the year and in 2026.
Okay. Then what about sellers?
Sellers, you know, I think that if you're thinking about listing and waiting and doing all that, like, I think now's a great time to do that. We just had the rate cut. I think you can list your house in years past. I would say that, you know, you would hear that people would say, like, well, the fall, winter time is like the worst time to list.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's what you do
holidays,
here.
it's whatever. So I get that. Like, if you're one of those people, it's like, I don't know if I want to have my house listed during the holidays, that kind of stuff. Okay, then wait till after the first of the year. But if you're someone that's like, well, we'd like to get out and we'd like to get into something else, like,
Mhm.
now is a great time to like do that. Like,
Yeah.
we're seeing, like I said, I'm having more listings than I ever had.
Yeah, you have
come
a
up this
lot coming
fall.
up.
So I just think that, like, it just depends on your situation, right?
Mhm.
But if you're in that boat of like waiting or not, like, I would say now's the time for both. Like,
Yeah.
you
So
can't
is
have
it balanced
have
then?
both cakes, right? And eat it.
Yeah, you can't.
You
So
can't.
are we going into a balance, or would we be shifting into a seller?
Here's the thing in real estate. It feels like things happen overnight,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the shift.
Right.
Oh, the shift. This crazy shift just took place. Like, no, I've been warning you the last 60 to 90 days that, like, the shift was coming.
Right.
And then when it does come, you're going to be like, holy crap, we're going to look at these houses, and now there's 8-10 people there while we're looking. And
Yeah.
when did this happen? Like, well, I've been warning you that it was coming.
Mhm.
You know, so like, there's going to be some people that I've been showing houses to now that we've been going to these houses and they've been empty, and we've had 30 to 40 minutes to like look at them. 60 to 90 days from now, we're not going to have that. You know, there's going to be other people that show up at the same time, and, you know, we're
Yeah.
going to be sharing the tour, and we're going to be, you know, talking on the phone outside of our cars, or inside our cars and outside away from the house, because there's going to be people coming and going. We don't want them to hear
Mhm.
the details that we're discussing.
Yeah.
But-
See, I honestly have not really been in that market. I don't really feel like it was like that in
Yeah.
2023, 2024. So, yeah, like the last 12 to 18 months, I feel like it has been this very almost quiet.
Yeah.
Could you say that? And now
It's
going.
about to ramp up.
We're
So it's
about to
funny
ramp
because in
up.
like 2022, 23, you know, it's crazy. Like 2022, I think I had the worst, or I had the best, one of the best years in real estate. 2023, the worst year that I had in real
I
estate.
remember you told me that.
And then 2024, last year, I had the best year in real estate that I've ever had, when everybody else was like, "Oh, we were so slow and whatever," and I was like,
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it was very slow last year. I was like, because as an admin for those many agents, I'm like, I'm not really doing too much here. So was your 24 better than your 22?
Yes.
So do you think
24 was the best year that I've ever had in real estate?
Wow, congrats.
Thanks.
I think 26 will outdo it. Don't you think?
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2026, and I've been telling my team this, I'm like, you guys, it is going to be feast and famine in 2026. Like, keep doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing. Keep building the relationships. Keep staying in front of people, because in 2026, it'll be feast or famine for a lot of agents. And I think for those of us that have been in it long enough, and for those of us that are top producing agents, we're going to feast, and we're going to see a lot of other agents be in a famine and be desperate, potentially get out of the business. We've been seeing that already, like this year and the previous year, which has been good, I think, for the industry, is get rid of some of those people that are doing 0 to 5 deals a year. Like, we don't need those people in the business. They have no idea what's happening in the market, or any of those things. I don't feel like they do a very good job of representing their clients. So I think as we move towards, 2026, it's going to be the agents that do 20 plus deals a year that are going to be feasting, and they'll have their best year yet, I think. But you can't stop putting your foot on the gas now.
Yep, you got to
keep putting your foot on the gas and go through the holiday season, because this is where the opportunities are for clients. This is where the opportunities can take place with our people, and especially if you're a buyer. So anyways, that's what I got.
Awesome.
That's what I got for today.
It was short. Good questions. It was quick, but it was good.
It's good stuff. We'll be back with some more stuff later.
Next week.
Talk always. To you guys soon.
Talk to you later. Bye. That one was good. Don't you think? It was short. But...
Boom.
So what do I need to do to get that up?